Thank you. I find it very regrettable and disappointing that this debate has effectively collapsed, despite the presence of other people in the House who have not spoken, and in particular the fact that there was such a small representation on the government side. I think only one speaker from each of the coalition parties, and that appears to me to be a deliberate policy on the part of government that they will stifle debate. They did exactly this in the debate concerning the Constitutional Convention, and I find that a matter of deep regret. Now, can I just say that
on a point of information, I'd like to correct the record.
There are no points of information.
Well, the Cathaoirleach has allowed me to speak. Point of order, then.
Yes, but she also made other remarks.
There has been no attempt to stifle anybody, Senator Norris. There has been no attempt to stifle anybody.
Well, that was...
Sorry, it's not a point of order. Sorry. Continue, Senator.
I'm making a political point. I'm being interrupted, and I'm surprised that you supported the person who made that on the basis that there was a point of information. There's no such provision in standing orders.
Does she correctly and said a point of order?
But
she said a point of order.
It was not a point of order.
And I said it was not a point of order.
Because I don't particularly wish to be contentious. But I would say this, that the amendment presented by the government is an insult to this House and to the intelligence of the members. Senator Gilmore chose to criticise, Gilroy chose to criticise the...
Senator Norris, without interruption.
Have you finished amending my words?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Because he chose to amend, to question the construction of my motion on the basis that I referred to the unanimous support of professional commentators, but he did so without producing one who did not, or who objected to the kind of proposals being made. I'm aware of nobody who suggested that this was inappropriate, and it was widely canvassed and discussed during the election. So if Senator Gilroy can produce such a...
Chairman, on a point of order,
I'd be very happy.
On a point of order, by the same argument, the logic of the argument would require Senator Norris to produce all of the experts. If I have to produce one, he must produce them all, by the same logic of that argument.
Senator Norris, conclude, please.
I also refer to the clearly demonstrated public support. I didn't say it was unanimous, but it was very clear that there was a very considerable interest in this matter. Now, turning to the amendment, and I welcome the fact that Senator Gilroy approved of certain aspects of the thing, despite giving himself certain camouflage by trying to pick holes in the language, of which I'd be very happy to give a joust with him, but I don't particularly want to waste time on that matter here. But it is insulting just to recite existing facts. Notes the Constitution of Ireland sets out the requirements for the nomination of candidates for the office of President of Ireland. I mean, what information does that bring to the House of which people are not aware? I mean, every school child in the land is aware of this fact. It's an insult to produce this as if it was an argument. You might as well say, this country is Ireland. That Seanad notes that the country is called Ireland. It's as fatuous and as empty and as flatulent as that. Notes that in the 2011 presidential election, 7 candidates, the highest ever number, were validly nominated. Yes. Despite everything that was done by the political parties. I mean, I've already put on the record, I give certainly exception to the honourable example of Michael D. Higgins, who was an old colleague of mine. But can I say this?
Senator Norris, without interruption,
I just want to say that it was very clear. It was very clear that the parties did everything they possibly could to inhibit this, and they attempted to make an agreed candidate. No doubt about that.
Senator
Then
Norris,
there's
please,
the
no
question
interruption.
of the Constitutional Convention. We're told we can throw it in. And there's a real contradiction there. We're told we've missed the boat, but still you can throw it in. I mean, do have a bit of sense. One thing was not addressed, and in fact most people, or a lot of people, avoided the real issues. I'm talking not about myself. That situation is over as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not aggrieved by any of the political side of things. I want to remove that from the record. I certainly have an issue with the media, and I will return to that, but I specifically excluded that from this debate because I wanted to confine itself to the principles. But can any single person in this House defend the fact that the political parties, with their huge resources, are permitting donations from individuals 3 times that to individuals who have to fund it out of their own resources? And that they are allowed to exempt contributions such in kind, such as postering, transport, all the rest of it, under the standards in public office. In other words, there is a clear, deliberate and massive financial disadvantage deliberately placed on individual citizens by the parties. And that's inarguable. That's a mathematical fact. It's not a question of how I phrased anything, about which people may be picky if they wish.
Could I ask you to conclude
now, please? It is a mathematical fact. And I'm saying that this is a scandal and a disgrace. And I'm astonished that anybody can stand for it. In America, they like to say anybody could be president of America. You can if you can buy it. And it's going that way in this country too. And I'm not making any retrospective claims for myself. I'm just saying, in the future, why should it be a matter of how much money you have? Why should people from ordinary backgrounds be disenfranchised in this manner from the highest office in the state?
Thank you, Senator.